A lot of people share very generic figures when it comes to property refurbishment, and in today's video I'm going to break down exact refurb costs on an actual property that we've just finished. Slight disclaimer here, yes, I am going to be breaking down an actual refurbishment cost, but this is not to be representative of every single property that you go out there and refurbish. Capiche? So as we know, refurbishing is one of the most common ways to add value to a property, both from a quantitative and qualitative point of view. What do I mean by this? Well, there's several ways of making money in property. Number one is buying at the right price, but a really specific and great way of doing so is actually adding value through the refurbishment. Not only does this increase the monetary value, but it also increases the value to your tenant. Now you might be thinking, well, why do I care about that? Well, you bloody should do if you want to attract the best tenant type possible in order to make your house into somebody's home, constantly paying you on a month-by-month basis. But one thing we do need to be considering is the ceiling prices in the area. In one area you might do a £20,000 refurbishment, and in another area the same type of refurbishment could be north of £100,000. So you do need to look at that, and ultimately what we're looking to do for every pound that we spend on a refurbishment, we really want to be getting anywhere between £1.50 and £3 back on our investment, and anything less than that just isn't going to be worthwhile, and anything more than that is frankly just unrealistic. And the reason it's so important to get this price as accurate as possible from the start is it can very quickly go from an amazing investment opportunity and an asset to a losing investment opportunity or a liability, and that is really going to come down to the accuracy of your figures. There's a few different variables to be thinking about before we actually break down the step-by-step. Number one is going to be location. Like I said, I'm filming this up in Yorkshire, and so there is a set standard that people expect in West and South Yorkshire, which is very different to West Central London. So you need to think about your geographic location and the impact on the spec that's going to be required for the tenant type or end user if you're selling on the property. The second thing to consider is, are you going to be doing the work yourself or involving a project manager? In general, if you're doing the work yourself, it's going to end up exchanging a lot of your time in order to reduce the price. Now, if you're watching this and you've got loads of time in your hands, then that's going to be brilliant. But for most of you, you're going to want to think of yourself as an investor and thinking about getting that outsourced to a project manager. Now, typically that's going to cost you anywhere between 10 and 20% on top of the construction or refurbishment cost, dependent on the price. Then the final thing is really the spec, the specification that we're going to look at. And I really recommend labeling, it could be bronze, silver and gold. And it's really going to depend on the area again and the exit of the property. For example, am I getting a local tenant that's not going to be a high tier, high paying client? It's really about a stopgap for them. Then maybe I'm going to put in the bronze package. Or am I doing it to the nuts, getting it specced out amazingly because I'm looking for the end user to be a homeowner who I know will pay a premium on the property, and I might go to that gold standard? Or is it a boring vanilla buy-to-let, in which case I'm going for my silver standard, making my house somebody else's home? So how do we improve the accuracy of this pricing up anyway? Well, seems pretty obvious. Well, I think it is. Take a professional with you. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to call up the local builder and go, hey, can you price this up? Can you price this up? Can you price this up? Pretty quickly, they're going to get very pissed off. But if you're going to your first few viewings, I would recommend calling around a few builders, and I offer them £50 to come and do a viewing with me. And I say, look, I'll give you 50 quid. Come and do the viewing with me. What I want you to do is price it up for you to do the works. And number one, it's going to help me learn what an actual refurbishment looks like in my area. But also I'm going to understand the figures a lot better, which means that third, you're going to get the most business. And think about that logically. You need to explain this to the builder, by the way, because if you ask for the breakdown of all of the pricing, most builders will assume you're trying to get a bit of quantities, which is a spreadsheet breaking everything down, so that you could go, that's too expensive. This person could do that 200 quid cheaper. That one's more expensive than I expected. Can you knock that down a bit? And builders builders are so used to people doing that left, right, and center. And my opinion is price is what you pay, value is what you get. So focus on the value and the output that they're bringing, not so much the price that's dictated in order to facilitate that value in the first place. But if you explain to them, listen, the reason why I want to understand your breakdown is I don't want to waste your time. Every single viewing that I'm doing, I will be able to assess what the refurbishment's going to be. I will then give it to you to quality check it, and then you can sign off in it and you can have first dibs on the work. It's a great opportunity to build a great relationship from day one. After about 8 to 12 weeks of doing this, and yes, it does require some time, you can then start developing your own spreadsheets. And this is like your own bill of quantities. And very quickly, you'll realize in your area for a 3-bed semi or a 3-bed terrace property, you'll be able to work out, give or take, per square meter what the costings are going to be. Now, the reason why you want to take 8 to 12 weeks and a several viewing process getting this is you want to take account of the averages of everything in that area. And that's not going to be created by just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 properties. You need to build up this bank of knowledge that you can go against, take out the extremities of either side, and get your average price. Once you've now got that spreadsheet together, my opinion is share it with 3 local reputable builders that you can run their prices against. And you can say, hey, I want to test this out. Here's a property. Here's a checklist of everything that I think needs doing on this. Plus, we've got the spreadsheet on here, and this is what I think it's going to cost. And then what you want to do is get a comparison of yours versus the builder. Now, ideally, what you're looking to be is the middle of all 3. There'll be somebody that's a little bit cheaper, somebody that's a little bit more expensive, and then somebody that's bang on in the middle. And I'd say if you're within 3 to 5% of their prices, you know you've got something really accurate to be moving forward with. The cool thing about this is it's a lot of upfront energy. And the reason I like that is because most people won't ever do it. And even though the fact you can set it and forget it, do it once, benefit forever. And once you put in these first 12 weeks, you will benefit for years and years and years and years to come. And all you really need to do is a quarterly review of that to make sure your prices are still in line with reality. By the way, this can happen in both ways. Right now, property prices and refurbishment prices are skyrocketing. But at some point, the demand for builders and refurbs will diminish a little bit, the supply will be there, and actually prices will come back down for your refurbishments. And you want to make sure as accurately as possible you are adjusting for this inflation or deflation in prices. Another way of expediting this is to actually joint venture with somebody, because if you joint venture with somebody, they've already got the experience, and all of the upsides come with their experience, all of the downsides come with money, in the fact that often if you're joint venturing with somebody with experience, you're putting all of the money in, they're putting all of their time in, and then you split the money 50-50, which is great in some situations, but in most situations, it's really not great halving your profit, right? Another way is using a reputable portfolio builder. Now, at Aspire Property Group, my company, we work with people that have got 100 grand or more, help them start building their portfolio, and that's completely hands-free, from finding the property, negotiating the price, getting it refurbished, getting it letting out. And so it is truly a bespoke end-to-end product. And by the way, if you've got 100,000 and you'd rather us build your portfolio for you, put APG in the comments right now, and I'll also put a link that you can click on, fill in your details, and one of my team will be in touch. The final thing to think about is how you're actually presenting this information to not just your clients or your investors if you're bringing them on, but also your builders. And I really like using visual technology, and specifically I like 360 tours. So we specifically use Ricoh cameras, which is RICOH, and this is a camera that sits in the middle of a room, spins around, and you can end up seeing the spec that we're actually looking to achieve from past examples. So let's jump into the laptop now, and I'm going to break down an actual property refurbishment, show you around the property from a 360 tour, and walk you through the pricing as and when it takes place. So this is 33 Sandringham Crescent. It's in LS17 North Leeds, and this is a property that's actually one that we've purchased and one of the only technically a flat that we purchased, and you know from other videos that is incredibly rare. So the first one we're looking at is the kitchen here. It's not actually in terrible condition, but you know, because we're doing the sort of full rip out of the rest of the property, we really want to make sure that we're really doing this up to the nines. So let me show you what it looks like now, and again, as a reminder, this is on Rico Tours on this. Okay, so as you can see, this is what the kitchen looks like now. If we go around it, and you can see we've put in a new cooker, oven, extractor fan, the tiling on this, and of course a very basic level refurbishment on there. But you can see it's a nice little room, and actually that's come in at around £4,000. Now, kitchens used to be a lot cheaper than this, but because of the increase in cost of material, especially with wood right now, and the labor and expertise that goes into it, costs have gone up. Let's jump across to the bathroom. As you can see on this bathroom, it's again not awful as a bread and butter buy-to-let, but because we just want to rip it out, start again, you can see the radiators aren't quite there. It just needs a full rip out. And if we fast forward to where we're at now on the bathroom, so it'll go across on it, so you can see here it's been fully tiled, new radiator, decent little sort of cabinet for that, and it just makes it look a lot more clean. So it's had a 3-piece suite put in, including the bath, shower, screen, mixer taps, and full tiling, and then that comes to $2,400. And then the remainder, as we're sort of going through, and I'll walk you through the property, is you can see the bedrooms that are just tired, dated, the living room that's tired and dated as well. So we've done a full rip out throughout this entire property. We've ended up doing new internal walls on this to create a better space for it. And I'll jump across to the pictures so you can actually see the end product of this. If I go back to the entrance, you can see there, it's nice white walled, new radiators, it's grey. Go to the hallway, and again, you can see it's really nice clean. The doors are really decent spec. The bedrooms, and of course the living room as well, which I'll jump across to. So the full rip out and the skim throughout cost $2,900. The internal wall, which was between the bathroom and the kitchen on this, ended up coming to about $600. Supply and fit the 5 internal doors. The doors themselves not that expensive, but you need to put these new frames on, as you can see there, and that ends up ramping up the cost, which was $1,400. New radiators $800. Sockets and switches $400. Whitewashing the entire house and the feature wall, that cost $1,500. Carpets and vinyl in the kitchen and the bathroom throughout, that's $1,600. Then a clean and clear out. Now this is where costs do end up coming up to quite a lot. That was $1,600. The reason why that ended up coming up is people really forget about the cost of skips and significantly underestimate everything. And then you've got the supply and fit of the external door as well. So if we go into the rear garden here, you can see that the door there is not connected properly. You can see the big gap at the top. We had to supply and fit a new one of those, which was £800. So the bathroom, the new kitchen, the full rip out and skim, internal wall between the bathroom and kitchen, supply and fit of the 5 internal doors, frames and architraves, new radiators, sockets and switches, whitewashing the full house and a feature wall, carpets, vinyl, bathroom, vinyl as well, site clean and clear out, and supply and fit the rear external door. All of that totaled £17,700. So there you have it, a full breakdown of an actual refurbishment and the things you need to take account of both internally and externally to the property. Hopefully that's been valuable, and if it has, let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and the subscribe button, and I hope to see you in the next video. And really, this is coming down to whether you want to earn first and then learn as you're going along, or learn and earn a lot later. If you want to be a part of APG, put it in the comments now and I'll be in touch, and otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.